Someone's outside. It started with the sound of gravel crunching beneath footsteps, slow, deliberate. I froze mid-bite, the spoon halfway to my mouth. It was late past midnight, and I lived alone at the end of a dirt road surrounded by thick bushland. There shouldn't have been anyone out there. At first, I thought it might have been an animal, possum, kangaroo, maybe even a fox. But then I heard it again, steps, moving closer to the window near the kitchen. Crunch, pause, crunch. Whoever it was, they were trying to be quiet. My stomach dropped. I killed the lights. The hum of the refrigerator seemed suddenly too loud, like it was betraying me. I tiptoed to the window, careful not to step on the loose board near the sink. The glass reflected just enough of my face to make it hard to see outside, but behind my faint reflection, I caught a glimpse of movement. A shadow, tall, still, watching. I backed away, heart slamming in my chest so hard it made my ribs ache. I grabbed my phone. No signal. Of course. The storm earlier had knocked out the tower again. I thought about getting in the car, but the keys were hanging right by the back door, right near the window where the shadow was standing. I didn't move. I just listened. Minutes passed, though they felt like hours, until I heard it again. But this time it wasn't footsteps. It was breathing, slow, ragged, on the other side of the glass. My body refused to move. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but I couldn't tear my eyes away from that dark window. Then, tap, just once. A single gentle knock, followed by a whisper so faint I thought I imagined it. Let me in. My throat tightened. The voice sounded wrong, like it was stretched too thin, like someone trying to remember how to sound human. I stumbled back, knocking over a chair. The sound broke something inside the quiet. Footsteps retreated, then silence. I thought they were gone, but then I realized whatever was out there hadn't left. They'd gone around. The old wooden boards on the porch creaked. Then another whisper, closer now, by the front door. I can see you. My chest burned as I tried to stay silent. I clutched a kitchen knife and crouched behind the counter. The sound of metal on metal rattled through the night. It was the front door handle twisting, testing, slow, careful. Then, without warning, bang! The whole door shook, once, twice, then stopped. I waited, shaking, staring at the entrance. I could still hear the wind, the rustle of trees, but no footsteps, no breathing. Hours passed before the sun rose. When I finally built the courage to open the door, the air was still. The grass was wet with dew, and in the dirt leading away from my porch were footprints, bare, deep. But there was something else beside them. Drag marks, like someone or something had been pulled away. And just before the prints vanished into the trees, written in the mud with a trembling finger were the words, "You locked me out." There's someone outside. It started with my dog growling. Not barking, growling. A low, trembling rumble that I'd never heard from him before. I was halfway through a movie when he lifted his head, ears up, staring toward the front window. I muted the TV and listened. At first, nothing. Then, tap, tap, tap. It came from the glass. My stomach tightened. I told myself it was probably a branch brushing against the window, or maybe rain starting up again. But when I pulled the curtain back, there was no branch and no rain. Just the yard, still and pale under the porch light. But something was off. The gate was open. I always close that gate. I stood there for a while, trying to see past the dark edges of the yard. Then I caught it, a shape near the fence, tall, still, like someone standing just outside the reach of the light. "Hello," I called out, instantly regretting it. The shape didn't move. I blinked, and it was gone. My chest started to ache with every heartbeat. I locked the doors, checked every window, then turned off the lights so I could see outside better. The yard was empty. The dog had gone quiet, but he kept pacing, nose to the ground, like he could still smell something. That's when I heard it again. Crunch, gravel. Someone was walking up the driveway. I peered through the blinds, careful not to move them too much. The porch light flickered, casting long shadows. Then I saw a figure standing halfway up the drive, facing the house, not moving. I couldn't see their face, just the outline. I whispered to myself, it's probably a neighbor, someone lost. But deep down, I knew it wasn't. My phone was on the coffee table. I grabbed it and started dialing, but before I could hit call, a soft knock echoed through the house. Knock, 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 from the back door. I froze. Whoever was outside had moved, without a sound, around the house. My pulse thundered in my ears. I crept to the kitchen, knife in hand, and waited. Then I saw the doorknob turn, just slightly. Slowly, I held my breath. It stopped. Then a whisper came through the crack of the door, quiet, hoarse, and wrong. "Please let me in." It's so cold I didn't answer. I just stood there, shaking. Then the voice came again, lower this time. Closer. "I know you can hear me." The dog started barking wildly, clawing at the floor. I shouted and backed away from the door. After that, nothing. No sound, no voice, no footsteps leaving. Just silence. I waited until sunrise before checking the porch. The back door was scratched, deep grooves across the wood. And in the dirt outside, I saw prints, bare feet, large, pressed deep into the ground. But what made me sick to my stomach was the direction. The footprints didn't lead away from the house. They led to the window, the one right beside where I had been standing. The one watching. It started about 2 weeks ago. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, paranoia from living alone. But then I started noticing things, small things. The feeling that someone was watching me when I took out the bins. A faint shadow at the edge of the streetlight, the crunch of gravel when I turned my back. The first real sign was the cigarette butts. Every morning there'd be 1 or 2 on the edge of my driveway, freshly smoked, still smelling sharp and bitter. I don't smoke, and neither do my neighbors. The first time I noticed, I brushed it off, but they kept appearing, closer to the house each day. Then one night I saw him. It was about midnight. I was closing my curtains when I caught movement outside. At the end of the driveway, just beyond the reach of the porch light, someone was standing there, completely still. I froze, my hand gripping the curtain. I couldn't see his face, just the dark shape of a man, maybe 6 feet tall, head tilted slightly upward. He was watching the house, watching me. I stared for what felt like forever, until my heart started pounding so hard it hurt. When I blinked, he was gone. The next morning, I found footprints in the gravel, deep ones, and another cigarette butt, this time right near my front step. After that, I started checking the locks 3-4 times a night. I stopped going outside after dark. I told myself I was overreacting, But then came the phone calls, always from a blocked number, always the same silence on the other end. The first few times I hung up. Then one night I stayed on the line. After about 10 seconds, I heard something faint in the background, breathing, slow and heavy. I whispered, "Who is this?" No answer, just that steady rhythmic breath. Then, click. A few nights later, I woke up to a sound outside my bedroom window. Crunch, gravel, then the unmistakable sound of shoes on grass. I reached for my phone with shaking hands and turned off the lamp. The light from the moon barely touched the window, but I could see a shadow. Someone was standing right outside the glass. I couldn't breathe, couldn't move. The shadow leaned closer until it almost touched the window, and then I saw it, a reflection of eyes staring straight at me. I bolted out of bed and ran to the living room. I called the police, whispering into the phone while watching the front door. When they arrived, the yard was empty. No footprints, no man, just the smell of smoke lingering in the air. The officer said it was probably kids or someone passing through. But that night when I checked my security camera footage, my blood ran cold. At 2:47 a.m., the camera caught him. He walked slowly up to my window, just stood there for almost 4 minutes, not moving, not blinking, just watching. And before he turned to leave, he looked directly into the camera, like he knew I'd be watching later. Then he smiled. That was 3 days ago. Last night I heard the crunch of gravel again. This time I didn't look. I just sat in the dark, clutching my phone, waiting for the sound to stop. It didn't. It circled the house, once, twice, then silence. This morning there was something taped to my front door. A photo of me sleeping in bed, taken from outside my window.